Well,
So do you actually? Yeah, let us know.
actually, they kind of mentioned a lot of things, like practicing a lot.
Yeah, on your part, how do you prep?
But other things, I mean, to add to it, maybe it's just me, I don't know. I just really have to make sure I'm mentally prepared in a way that I'm not distracted. Like, let's say even you have your responsibilities in your personal life, right? Either work, school,
There should
or
be no
whatever.
LQ going on between you and your loved
That
one.
too, syempre. Pag may LQ kayo, parang distracted ka, di ba? So you have to prepare yourself, you have to concentrate. Because if not, syempre, it's hard to drive.
Kaso paano pag yung kalaban mo sa sim racing? Yun yung number one opponent mo pag sim
It
racing.
happened, but... it happened, but... okay, so those are some things that you have to consider as well.
Mentally prepare yourself.
Yeah,
Okay.
it really affects you. It's not just the physical preparedness. And,
How do you mentally prepare?
well, one, no distractions. I shouldn't be hungry. I should have enough sleep before practicing. You should put like what they said. You should have some rest. From it depends on you. It doesn't have to be 2 hours, 1 hour. It depends on you. So mag-rest ka naman so you can refresh your mind from time to time. Another thing I like is when Matthew said like sometimes you look at other people's from their point of view, how they take each corners, which I do before, either from somebody you know or someone online, either videos or actually some games like Gran Turismo. I think you can see the runs of the top guys. So you can get tips from there and then see what works for you. So I review that as well, and it actually helps a lot. So, when there's this corner, parang hindi ko talaga siya magets. So then when you see somebody, so ganun pala yun, then you actually learn from it. So you cannot just work on your own. It's nice to, get someone else's opinion or something about that particular corner or track if you want. At the same time, even if you have the competition is this particular racetrack or car, sometimes it's nice. I don't know if you guys do that. Try out other tracks and cars. Parang, parang yun at yun lang.
Yeah, we were talking about the actual racing drivers earlier. Those who did not, I don't know if they had backgrounds in sim racing as well. It's part of being a good motorsport athlete, being able to drive a different car and be as competitive. That's part of racing.
Actually, sa sim racing, somehow yung training mo on real racing halos parehas.
Yeah, that's why
Physically and
that is
mentally.
why they look at sim racing now differently, because it has been proven to be a great testing ground, training ground for the actual thing, right? And it's great. You guys represent, and you guys are heroes of, somehow part of the R&D team of, the pinnacle of motorsports athlete racing, right? And we got to hear it from Elysse over here. How do you prep yourself when it comes to competitions?
Well, in any competition that I join, be it like an on-site from a gaming event or online or a major event, there are 3 things that we need to take into consideration when preparing for any type of competition. First, information. Second, seat time. And third, scenario. I'll get to it one by one. First, information. Of course, you need to know the rules. You need to know what are the settings and what are the conditions, what restrictions you have to take into consideration. Of course, what car are you going to drive around?
Yeah, like what Gav Quintos earlier, so you know how to skirt the edge somehow, right? So you got to know those rules so you won't be breaking them and you go onto that limit and maximize your advantage.
Correct. Like you need to consider, what are the rules regarding track limits, pit stops, and all that. And then once you understand the rules, then you can start to put in the seat time. Like get used to the car, practice, do your practice laps. Try to get your best lap as quickly as possible. Like learn the track, get your best time. But the thing is, getting the best lap times is one thing. But making it consistent, getting consistent lap times in changing conditions or changing scenarios is another thing. That's where scenario comes into play. Like, what happens if I start at the back of the grid? Like, what's going to be my strategy considering I have a good car and something may have happened in qualifying. I have to start at the back of the grid.
Okay.
Also, even if you start on pole position, what is going to be your strategy? Like, you don't want to be caught in the middle of turn 1, big mess in turn 1 because you made the wrong tire decision. At the same time, this is where you want to try different weather conditions, like what happens if it suddenly rains, what happens if it starts raining at the start of the race, and then how quickly is the track going to dry out. And also, this is where you want to experiment with pit strategies. Do I go for a 1-stop or a 2-stop?
Oh wow, you are actually the team manager yourself, right? That's
Driver na strategist pa.
Oh, diba?
Because if you cannot do it,
You are your own Toto Wolf or something like that.
yeah, because if you cannot do it all by yourself, like how are you going to be a successful professional sim racer, let alone be a professional racing driver?
Wow.
At the same time, it's not just about the track conditions that we're talking about. I also take into consideration scenarios like what if the equipment is like this, or what if the equipment is like suddenly malfunctions. How are you going to like be able to do a damage limitation on that?
We want to know that. How do you prepare for that? Do you, since here in the Philippines, if suddenly realize your air conditioning starts going bad and things could get overheated, or suddenly somebody steps in the room and steps into the cord and you get unplugged. How do you do that? Do you put duct tape on it, or?
No. There's really nobody that much at my home, so nothing to worry about.
You lock the door, you make sure, and you put a do not disturb sign.
Yeah.
Race mode on, do not disturb. Is that?
Yeah. But basically, prepare for anything is all. And that is one of the key things that pretty much helped me in my GRGT Cup regional finals in Malaysia, particularly in race 3, because it was a dynamic weather race.
Oh, wow. And yeah, we mentioned that one, the internet as well. Do you do protocols of testing the internet? How fast the internet? Who would like to answer that one?
Actually, yes. Especially...
These are for the basics, sir. For those who like to be in the know. We talk about these technicalities. You prepare like this, you prepare like that. But these are the basics that you got to be preparing for, right? So,
internet actually yung number one natin.
Do you actually do you get boosters, or
concern, kumbaga?
You buy the most expensive LAN wire, or?
Well, not necessarily on one side, but it's kumbaga, if you're organizing a competition, tapos iba-iba yung internet service providers ng mga participants mo, it's really a big trouble. It's really a hard time to get the race going. Like for example, for GRGT Cup, we have formulated a few years back, we have formulated a rule to somehow get around with the race competition of Gran Turismo. We basically organize the race manually.
What do you mean by that?
Di ba sa Gran Turismo may practice, qualifying, race, automatic, grade position and all.
Kumaga may preset.
May preset, automatic. Yung ginagawa namin sa GRGT Cup before, because the internet is so bad, we organize the race on practice session. Then, we have a real-time safety car. We have a real-time lap counter. We have a real-time race towards. So every lap, there's lap 1, lap 2, last lap na.
And it also helps so you have background in the actual race events with your experience as well, so you get to apply these things on these digital race events.
Yeah, and we're proud naman to formulate that workaround kasi kumbaga parang in the whole world parang kami lang nakagawa. Kasi sobrang hirap talaga ng internet.
Something for the books, that's an awesome blueprint.
If I may add, I actually loved that about the GRG. I actually was hoping that we could do a manual one again this year. We couldn't do it, but you know why? Okay, it just makes it more It makes it more immersive. I swear, I know it's hassle. I'm sorry. I know it's hassle. A lot of work. But like just hearing Sir Gav tell you this last hour, green flag, it makes it more exciting.
Actually, it's quite exciting. Kasi, green.
Yeah, they're just going out, hammering it down.
Alam na lahat, start ng race. Tapos, yung lahat ng officiating namin, Zoom. All of the drivers, mano-mano.
It's also indeed a simulation of the real thing when you're already on the track. On the actual racetrack.
And isa pa, one thing to consider, since sobrang hirap nga ng internet, late night kami nagpapakarera.
When everyone's asleep and the internet load is not as heavy, right?
Yeah.
Good idea.
It gets to like 12 a.m., 1 a.m. sometimes.
Well, you got to get used to different time zones anyway. Like,
And meron ding red flag.
oh, may red flag.
Real-time red flag. Like, biglang literal na wala internet or biglang bumagyo.
Yes, right?
May force majeure din.
Oh, there it is about the real thing. Yes, we're getting into the organizers POV over here now when it comes to preparing as well. Sir, go ahead, share with us.
For rally naman, for what I do is I host test events. So
test
I
events.
get drivers who are willing to actually do a test event. This is normally held during the midnights. So pretty much the same story as GT Cup. Pretty much walang kaagaw sa bandwidth and walang mag-message sa'yo na ano ginagawa mo kasi tulog na. Di ba? So pretty much that's how we do it. And the next thing is we actually get to, what do you call this? We do briefings as well. Because actually in GT Cup we do race briefings as well, right? As in every race. And one thing nice about the race briefing is that it introduces the new guys to the sport as well. And we're being inclusive in a way. And
So basically yung mga gustong mag-try.
yes.
Kumbaga, it's very newbie friendly.
Kasi for the new ones, it starts with the question, what if I try this?
Yeah.
Right? And if that what if turns into, okay, how do I do this? Yan na yan. You got the guy's attention already.
Eventually, you have this helpline, call center or something like that, message center, the Discord thing, they get to chat with you.
Normally, group chat.
Group chat.
Pero, ang maganda dyan, since interactive yung community, hindi lang yung organizers yung sumasagot. Fellow participants yung tumutulong.
Oh, that is great. It's one awesome community.
They get the best of both worlds, an organizer's perspective and a driver's perspective. And if you mix them both, it's a powerful combination.
Yeah, you get the details you want, the information you want, right? And how about you, sir, in preparation for race events this time, as an organizer?
Mostly, what I organize is the hardware that they will be using on live events. So, for the rigs that we use, we make like right now we're in PMX the rigs.
I thought you're a doctor. Aren't you an engineer?
Sim racing doctor.
Sim racing doctor. Okay, with a background in engineering.
So basically we prepared the equipments during live events, and then I partnered up with Keanu on announcing the live events and going to places and to car shows like that, then to the ESC events, and then to other areas in the Philippines. The farthest that I went is in Cagayan de Oro.
Wow.
Yan, and then here back again in Luzon. Yan. Mostly yung mga gamit kasi since we're also the one producing the frames for use on e-motorsport events like for example in GT Cup, and then the equipment that we use. So I have to make sure that everything is in working condition. Because sometimes hindi rin kasi maiwasan na may mga aberya.
Yes.
Especially on live events kasi that's where your patience is being tested. Minsan mahina yung wala talagang connection.
Oh, no.
Minsan there are power fluctuations, no? So it really affects yung system, so you have to adjust. And then sometimes on the rules, sometimes you have to bend it a bit para lang ma-accommodate yung the people who are participating in the event.
So you have to also make sure that the rigs are transport friendly. So material breakthroughs now, carbon fiber materials for the rig, aluminum, titanium. Right?
It's going to be expensive. So the frames are only steel, steel made.
Yeah, durable steel.
Durable steel. And then it doesn't flex, and then it's very also useful, user friendly for the participants who are using it.
All right. Now, looking to the future, what do you guys aim to achieve as sim racers? What do you consider as your role over here now, being one of the, since now sim racing is booming again, and you guys are doing your part, playing your roles, looking into the future, how do you find yourself? What's going to be the goal as a sim racer here in the Philippines here? We start with you, Matthew.
So the goal for me right now is just to find a way to transition it to a professional level. So maybe if it's not in the real thing, I want to aim to do racing professionally first, because that's already like a challenge on its own.
Wait a minute. We're talking about you. Is there a so-called professional sim racer?
Yes, there is.
Okay, so the professional thing you're talking about is a professional sim racer or the professional real race car driver?
Well, obviously my goal is to do it for real.
Okay.
Specifically rallying. I want to be able to.
Like the one with the fuel, not with the electricity. Okay.
Yeah, not.
Okay. Although in the
not
future,
the one with the
EV.
signboards, man. Like, we're talking like rally cars, right?
Oh wow.
It's like my goal is to be able to find a team who would maybe want to pick me up, knowing that I'm a sim driver. Look for sponsors, like and just try competing in events in real life, hopefully.
Yeah, that's a great thing. Like the rally version of Gran Turismo, right?
You know what? I'm just gonna...
The Gran Turismo movie, I mean.
Sure, yeah, sure. But
I mean, they had that program, the FIA Rally Star.
There it is.
I was 2 years late for that. I'm so sad. If I got my rig way earlier, I could have actually tried it out.
Why? How come you're late for it? I mean,
I only started a year and a half ago.
Okay, you need more time to get to that point.
Not really. It's more like I have to be lucky enough to be around when they do that kind of thing.
Well, Matt, di ba nga, since you have been chosen as the representative for the GRGT Cup Asia, we all know that Elysse and Ribonarc Motorsports awarded you with a chance to race the Formula V1 in an endurance race next year.
Thank you so much, but it's just like
Motorsports.
But that's the thing, though. It's like I think what most people overlook is that is how that profession actually sustains you, and I want it to be something that could sustain me. I mean, when I mean sustain me, I mean like I can live in a normal home, eat normal food, right? Not like junk food, and live off of chips.
Like on noodles,
like
chips.
I want to be able to live healthy.
Because you gotta save up somehow. So.
Hey, I mean, I just want to be able to bring this to a level where I can afford to live a healthy life and sustain. I think that's the real goal. Regardless of what path I take, circuit or rally, as long as I'm able to do it as long as I'm able to do it professionally and get paid to do it properly, then I'm pretty happy with it.
For those who like to be in the know, your background actually, you're a student or you're working?
I'm a student right now for the University of Asia and the Pacific.
Okay. What course are you taking up?
I'm taking up integrated marketing. So it's basically business and marketing combined.
There you go. You're working your way up there, man. So you'll know how to get to the sponsors.
Racing drivers are business people. That's a fact. That's a known fact. Yeah. Like some of the best racing drivers I know today are great business people.
There you go.
Like the late Ken Block, rest in peace. He was an amazing businessman. He owned DC shoes.
Oh yes.
He knew how to sell, stuff like that.
Yeah, some of the coolest shoes to have, Ken Block shoes, the DC shoes. Okay, sir, from here on, right, a goal for as a sim racer, as a sim race event organizer, where do you see yourself? Where do you want to take this?
Well, for me, it's just simple. I wanted to meet more sim racers. Okay.
From different corners of planet Earth or the country?
No, here in our country.
Okay.
Kasi, you get to know people during the events.
Yes.
And when I see people who are good, makikita mo sila and then pupunta lang ako doon sa likod, titignan ko yung oras. I will know if that person is already an alien sim racer.
What do you mean by that?
When you say alien, they do laps that are very alien,
impressively unique,
crazy
phenomenal,
lap times. insane lap times.
Kumbaga sa sim racing world, yung alien, kumbaga you're on the peak of your game.
Oh yeah. Parang you're not
basically
you're not human anymore.
Basically si Luis, alien yan. Kumbaga mga ka-level niya Max Verstappen in the sim racing.
Stig. Oh, that's a good goal, you know.
And then at the same time, syempre, we wanted, personally sa akin, sim racing here in the Philippines, I wanted to be more recognized, more broader yung reach niya against Dota, Counter-Strike.
I guess you're doing the right thing, you know, being visible at events like this, right? So, where you know it's closest to the heart of people who actually would go to a place like this.
And the value of sim racing actually to the events like this, it is immense. Foot traffic, when they see when they see people interacting with the brand, is through sim racing as well. They say, okay, this is how the car should feel like when I drive it in real thing. Just put that in the perspective, no? So yun yung immense value nung nakukuha natin sa sim racing, especially on these events like this.
Yeah, plus you could also advertise in there. You could put decals, logos on the cars, right?
Yes.
So it's a great marketing strategy as well when you're into sim racing.
As what what he said. Yun nga. Sorry, medyo naglalaps na ako, no?
That's okay.
Race car drivers are also businessmen.
Yeah.
That's how you advertise.
And it's to keep it sustained, man. You got to be able to balance that thing, having fun and being economical at the same time. Sir, where do you want to take this? From the future, self of you, how is it going to be? And the goal for you as a sim racer and a sim organizer or sim race event organizer.
All right. So basically, what I'm about to say right now, I think everybody can relate or even agree to what I will say. All right. You guys ready for this? I want digital motorsports eventually to become a way of life for us. Right?
Yeah.
It's not just for fun. It's not just to get up there, but it's to make a life.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. Basically, that's one big goal I have. You know, there's one vision I have for the things we have here. So, fill me up. Basically, that's one big goal I'm trying to achieve, and with the help of everybody else, you know, I can't be alone in doing this. Everyone is involved to make this happen. I mean, you know, from the world of circuit, from rallies from hardware, you know, it comes into fruition. It comes together.
All right.
And without each other, we can't do it. But slowly, little by little, we can do it.
Got a collaboration right there. Yeah, and like in every race team, you know, the team wins because of the members.
It's not all the driver.
It's not just the driver.
It's the guys behind him that helps him
too.
Get up there.
Wonderful, great goal. Yeah, you know, so you should be having a chat with these guys, and now we can start things up, right? For my own little gear, little own rig at home, and then eventually evolve it from there, right? So Gav, where do you want to take this as an organizer, as a competitor, sim racing world? What do you think it is?
So basically, we started sim racing because we wanted to race in real life. So one of my dream is basically sim to real. That's a sentence. That's a term. So as much as possible, I want to have new or more sim racing drivers, then eventually get them involved into real motorsports in a lot of avenues. Kasi doon din ako nag-start ako sa sim racing. That opened me to opportunities like, number one, to become a professional racing instructor for TRS.
Yeah.
Number two,
Coach Gav.
to become a organizer, a race director for sim racing events. So basically, everything that involves me into real life motorsports started from sim racing. So whether you want to be a real race car driver or a race organizer, everything can start. Sim racing is an avenue. So if anyone wishes to get involved into motorsports, you can start with sim racing. And kumbaga, with that naman sa sim racing, sim to real nga, SRPH is the virtual community. We have a partner racing teams that started from sim racing, which is Raven Art
Ribbon Art
Motorsports.
Motorsports. Yeah, continuing to becoming a bridge, right?
We want to bridge the gap.
There it
of
is.
Virtual to real life motorsports.
Yeah, you're like one of those characters that got involved with Jan Martinborough. Got him to get him into it and eventually make it a real thing for him. Yeah, so you're one of those. Coach Gav, all right? So Elysse, where do you want to take this one? Especially, you are one of those who help out empower women in motorsport, right? And not just in sim racing, of course, in motorsport as well. So where do you want to take this?
Well, actually, in relation to what Gav and the others are saying, so I think a lot of us want to do the real thing, of course. And how we were able to prove that sim racing is something that you can start with. Now, as you mentioned, my husband and I, Quattro, Adriano, he basically formed a team called Ribbon Art Motorsports, shameless plug. But so we were actually, all of us were all sim racers. And majority are like doing real racing as well. So what we wanted to do, it's not just to have a team, but at the same time, it started because we wanted to have sim racers be able to develop into real racing. And through what we have learned through, for the past few years, I know in sim racing sometimes it's like a one-man team. And in real racing, there are many other factors that you'll realize that you have to learn, like how you have to work with, like what Matthew mentioned. You have to be good in marketing and business. You have to have collaborations. You have to have partnerships, sponsors, whatever you call it. So there are many things you have to consider for yourself to proceed. It's hard to think that it's not easy to live the dream that you're just racing and that's your work. For us, it's not going to become work, but it is possible. There is a way, but you have to work hard for it. And sometimes it's not just skill in terms of driving. So there are many, many factors. And Ribbon Art Motorsports is here to we do many things. But for one, apart from putting up events, we also have driver development program. We try to find ways to put in sim racers like Matthew, Elysse, and many others to see them race in the real racetrack. And we're there to somehow provide, apart from the equipment, the team, and of course somehow help them to see what are the other things you have to prepare for in real racing. So those are some of the things that we dream. It's not just something that I want to develop myself into become the best race car driver. Maybe, to be honest, there was a time that was my mindset. Like I was just focused on myself. Like I wanna learn. Of course, we start there. I want to learn. I want to become good. I want to be, all that. And then eventually you realize it's nice to bring in, to make the community bigger. At the same time, every time there's a sim racing event, I realized, I was telling Quattro, oh gosh, we're gonna see the same guys again. That's not a bad thing, okay? I mean, I see these guys. It's like a small world. So we were thinking, let's find ways to encourage new players to come in, and it doesn't have to always be, let's say, the realistic games. This might be a long discussion, but I'm just gonna keep it short. So I'm partnering with Gav, SRPH, and even Keanu and everybody else. So next time we'll discuss that. But basically, we want to bring in more people and spread awareness about what sim racing can do, whether it's for fun or for your racing development program. So something like that.
All right, that's something to look forward to.
I'd like to add something on that. Actually, to those who want to start or want to get in the game, you don't have to start from scratch. There is a community that is here for you and who will guide you or even hold your hand along the way. Literally,
not just virtually, but also literally. Okay. All right. Hey, come on, man, Elysse, the future Elysse Moreno. How's that going to be? As a sim racer here now, plus the opportunities that are falling in front of you over here.
Well, as a competitor, I would also like to try more on real-world motorsports moving forward. Aside from, of course, doing more sim racing events. Internationally, and there's no doubt sim racing, both real and virtual, will be part of my life now, but I will also not forget my roots, and moving forward I would like to help make sim racing reach more people, not just for car enthusiasts, not just for motorsport enthusiasts, not just for motoring geeks like us, but I want to make it reach the gamers, because that's where I came from myself.
Okay.
Like, I used to be more of an FPS gamer, and then switching to sim racing was a magical thing. And I would like to help people discover sim racing, reach further. It doesn't matter if you are a Mobile Legends gamer, a Call of Duty gamer, or just a random Joe strolling by the convention or happen to be here, because I'm telling to everyone this event right now, any one of you can be a racing driver. Everybody has to start somewhere, and it can all be possible through sim racing. And I believe anyone can, give it a try. It's really accessible, and right now there's so many options in terms of equipment, so many opportunities out there to give sim racing a try. And now is a great time to jump in and discover what sim racing can offer, because no offense to the other genres, but playing Mobile Legends won't make you a good wizard. Playing Call of Duty will not make you a good soldier in the army.
Playing NBA 2K something doesn't make you a good basketball player.
But sim racing can make you a better driver in real life.
Amen.
This is how it is for for our panel discussion. We're on sim racing. I would like to know, based on your experience, how different is it? Since you guys have driven the simulator and you have driven the real thing, how different is it? Any answers to that question you would like to answer? Just go ahead and share it with us, those who've had that experience. How different is it? How similar is it?
Well, I've been asked this many questions. I've been asked that question many times already, and I even did a video of that as well with Legion of Racers.
Everyone's curious to know how these amazing F1 superstars have done it. Because it really works, right? We want to know straight from your experience, how it feels, the difference of it versus the real thing versus the simulated thing.
We want to start with the similarity of sim racing and real life, and that is basically the fundamentals. Like in sim racing, you learn how to accelerate, brake, how to take a corner, how to properly hold the steering wheel, how to manage your braking and all that, how to manage your car even, when to brake, so on and so forth. So by the time you try the real thing on a real racetrack, you don't have to worry too much about learning so much more than compared to someone who is starting out with no idea at all. Like you go into a racing school with no idea of how to drive a race car in the real world yet, compared to someone who has tried his hand on sim racing. At least you already have the fundamentals dealt with. You just need to worry about the G-forces. This is where the differences come into play. Like in the real life, you now have the G-forces to deal with, and most importantly, it's the psychological fear factor, because in sim racing you can respawn as many times as you want in case you crash or blow your tires or whatever happens to your car. You'll have a fresh car every now and then. But in real life, there is this quote called YOLO, you only live once. Well, not meant to scare anyone. Because safety in the real racing has advanced through the years. It has made it much more safer. So we don't need to worry too much about getting hurt. But there's still that fear factor of not just getting hurt, but also the financial cost of damaging your car. You don't get to respawn in real life anymore.
The thing that hurts your pocket.
In real life, there is no reset button.
There it is.
That's the thrill. So.
But basically, the fundamentals are the same in real life and sim racing. So that is pretty much the biggest similarities. What you can carry over from sim to real.
Oh, there it is. Anybody else would like to share their experience based on that difference?
Yeah, well, sim to real. We have some guys enthusiasts, volunteers, and the sim racing community who develop. We call these mods the cars and the tracks.
Oh yeah, seen in the movie.
You
modify your own car.
You try to copy the real car or the real track.
Yeah.
Basically, we have track designers. They make the tracks. For example, Clark and BRC. So they try to make the track as similar as possible in real life.
Yeah.
Then we have test drivers like sila Luis, sila Keanu, some SRPH volunteers, sim racing volunteers to try it out. Then they give some feedback.
Yeah.
So how to adjust, what's wrong with this track.
So these are our R&D heroes, huh?
R&D, volunteer R&D. And sa cars, ganun din. So if you're familiar with the Toyota Vios Cup,
Yeah.
try to emulate that. Driving physics, telemetry, how the car handles into the SRPH VVTI Cup. So it was developed sila Daryl, sila Seth, Andre Varquez who developed this VVTI Cup course to be as much as possible, not really 100%, 90% close, that's the real thing, but it's a good platform to practice.
Yes.
While you're not in the racetrack. If you don't have time to practice in the racetrack, just practice at home. You have like International Speedway Virtual, you have the VVTI Cup to practice the racing line, basic handling and all. Then once you get to the racetrack, just adjust your driving style to fit the real thing.
Eventually, you're going to be able to memorize all of the corners of Clark International Speedway, right?
Basically, number one thing na napapractice nila dun is how to adapt in different scenarios. So, adapt on the physics of the sim, then go to the real thing, adapt on the driving physics of the real car.
There were the G-forces involved this time, right? Yeah.
Actually, yeah.
Matthew.
The one thing I wanted to bring up was the physical aspect. So, obviously, the fundamentals and learning how to adapt is all the same. But it's one thing to know it and another thing to do it. and I can honestly say it's just, sometimes you know what to do with the car. As a sim racer, I felt that, especially when I went karting for the first time, went to the Vios Cup car for the first time. I knew what I wanted to do, and then when I did it,
I know that.
oh Lord, I felt terrible. Like it really does hit you, especially when you're not used to it.
What happened to you? What
just
happened
a bit
to you?
of background on myself.
All right.
I live in a family whose mindset is to go as slow and gently as possible. So I'm pretty much the black sheep
Okay.
in my whole family.
All right.
So, in other words, when I jumped into the race car for the first time, I have never driven a car, or never even been in a car that's driven over 100 kilometers per hour. And that is a fact. I've never. And it's,
But you know how to drive a manual.
yeah, I did. I taught myself how to do it.
In the sim.
Yeah, and then, but to be fair, I was able to do it in real life as well. I was able to feel the biting point and everything. The problem is when the first time you dive into the corner. Oh boy.
Yeah.
To be fair naman, hindi ka nag-breakfast kasi nun. Yan nahilo ka.
Oh yeah. Okay, but essentially what I wanted to say was that I think you shouldn't underestimate the physical aspect of the sport. You really shouldn't. I was just in the Vios Cup car, but if you're just like me, you've been at home your whole life on the simulator, and you try it for the first time, never being in a car faster than 100 kilometers an hour, or let alone cornering near that speed, then I think for anyone wanting to transition to it, you better start training. You better start running, that stamina aspect. And you know what? The heat. That's another thing. It's one thing, the movement, right? The G-force.
Yes.
What about the heat?
Yep.
A lot of cars don't have AC, right? Especially when they start running, right? It just, that heat gets to you. Sometimes you could do it for like a lap or two, and then third lap comes and hey, I'm seeing double. Hey, that's funny.
You can wear those shirts with tubes on, the cooling shirts.
Some people actually have ice vests.
Yes,
like some people actually have a built-in sort of AC. It's more like it gets wind from the outside and it blows to you. Or sometimes they even have like ice in a cooler, whatever. But that physical aspect, please do not underestimate it. It's not one to one.
So in an actual car, what's the fastest you've been in kilometers per hour?
140 maybe?
140. At least now you were able to conquer your 140 kph, right?
Yeah,
so it's easy for you now to get to 180, 160. That's how it goes usually when you start driving. you get scared driving 80, and then you grow from it, and then you get to conquer 100.
That's
you become bring it to
140.
120.
Our follow the leader session, that's 160. 160.
There you go.
What? It was 140. I saw this. Well, okay. Well,
Yeah,
thank you for making me feel better.
Speedometer is actually of a 20 kilometer per hour
Yeah, but wait.
calibration difference.
Yeah, but you guys, it's really not the fear factor that kills you. It's really that physical. Like when I went into that, I wasn't afraid because I had I had trust that the TRS guys, they really knew like what to do with the safety wise, right? I was buckled up properly. Like I see dudes in Germany running 300 kilometers an hour shirtless, So like I knew I was gonna be safe, but again, the moment you dive and you're feeling brave, you feel like you know what the car's gonna do, and then you feel that G-force for the first time, it really hits you. It really like boggles with your mind. So.
Yeah, as you can see, the real athletes actually prepare for it with their muscles, work out everything, right? The neck muscles also, they strengthen them.
It's really just about getting used to that G-force.
Yes.
It's not something you can replicate by running, doing a bench press, No, but Max, no G-force is gonna...
That's why in the GT Academy, even the movie, it's not just pure racing, may physical challenges.
The G-force, you have to train for that.
There you go. Okay, now, your message to everybody over here, invite them over to the next events, right? And your message as a sim racer, as a sim race organizer, as a representative of the country, go ahead, send out those messages now to everybody over here as we wrap this discussion, or this exciting discussion. We'd like to talk more, but of course, right? So we begin with, go ahead, Luis.
Alright, so first things first, I would just like to invite everybody to a lot of things actually. First is to check out my sim racing team, Legion of Racers. We have different events going on right now. We also have the Hyperdrive Cities, which is a virtual competition happening later this month and early November. It's basically a sim racing event online where you get to race around a virtual recreation of a Southeast Asian city. And this year, that would be the Kuala Lumpur Street Circuit. It's a fictional creation courtesy of Hyperdrive Cities. And hopefully, if we could get a lot more Filipino sim racers to join, who knows, next year we might have a Manila Street Circuit created in the future seasons.
Very nice, yeah.
And aside from that, I would also like to invite everybody to support me in the upcoming TGR GT Cup World Global Finals in Barcelona, Spain, happening on December 1 later this year. So yeah, I would like to invite you and support me on that race coming up. Message si Toyota kung pwede kayo sumama.
And may you find your Spanish girl right over there.
Yeah, who knows?
Doon lang kami sa Espanya, Manila.
Actually, yung pupuntahan namin doon, pangalan ng area, Espanya din eh.
Okay, so thank you, Luis. Good luck, all right? Representing the Philippines in Barcelona. And Elysse, go ahead.
Okay, in behalf of Ribbon Arc Motorsports, so we created a team that really not only invites sim racers to try out real racing. Actually, even if you haven't tried sim racing, you can either go through sim racing. We can help you guys out. There's like a big community now that can help you out in many ways. Or if you want to go through real racing, you can talk to us. And if you are feeling, I don't know, if you're thinking about it, just try it out. If you don't like it, then just stop. It's up to you. But it's something nice to try out. That's how I started as well. And it's really a thrilling sport. And don't be overwhelmed with the things that you have to think about, like expenses, for example. I think that's the #1 concern of a lot of people. But there are many ways. So yeah, actually follow our pages. There are many ways. And Facebook groups like SRPH and all that, which Gav will probably mention. So yeah, we are there are a lot of opportunities in terms of racing, whether in the virtual world or the real one.
All right, Ribbon Arc Motorsport. Gav, go ahead.
So yeah,
yeah, invite everybody.
So I would like to invite everyone to, well, at least try sim racing. We have a lot of sim racing groups, sim racing communities. We have SRPH, Sim Racing Pilipinas. We have, that's for the general sim racing community. Then we have Oliver Aquino's iRacing PH. Oy, where are you?
Coach Oy, are you here,
Nakita
sir?
na.
Did you see him?
If you want to go iRacing, basically iRacing, yun yung mga sinasalihan ng mga F1 drivers natin. Sila Max, Lando Norris. There's one time during the pandemic, nakasama namin sa lobby si Mick Schumacher.
He's having a chat lang, but there he is, Oliver.
Coach Oy, what's up?
Oy is the fourth pillar of Philippine sim racing. So yeah, join these different sim racing communities. Si Keanu for the rally sim racing groups.
Yes.
Then we have Forza, sila Luis. Forza,
Yes, Forza Philippines as well. Also Legion of Racers again.
Maraming sim racing groups, sim racing platforms. Don't be afraid to try them all. And no one knows. Baka gusto nyong sumali to real life. There's a lot of may Ribbon Arc, may PRS style, may Super Sprint. Maraming groups, many options to transition from sim racing to real.
All right, that is great news. And sir, go ahead. Invite everyone.
Right, so basically, guys, just check out my page on Facebook and YouTube. It's Dominado Motorsports Rally. So it's not about just events. It's not just about races, and we also do posts there on where our next event will be. So
Yes.
yeah, so just do follow it, and who knows, maybe on the next event, you can be our highlight.
Aha. And of course, Doc.
First and foremost, I would like to thank the organizers of the Philippine Motorsports Expo, to Sir Robert and Ma'am Jintan. Yes, for giving us this panel discussion about sim racing. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Sir Robert.
Thank you, PMX, Sir Robert.
At least we share the passion to the people here who are listening. Then at the same time, I would like to invite everyone na nandito, and then for tomorrow to try out our simulators.
Yes, you guys are going to be here still
Surigao.
tomorrow, Sunday, right?
And Simagic, direct drive equipment. Yan. And then for our road tours and for events, we usually announce it at the Sim Racing Philippines community page, even at Keanu's page in Dominado Motorsports. So hand in hand, actually kami, we always
Take
spread out the
collective
word.
effort, basically.
Collective effort from
Nice.
everyone of us to So it's not just a one team directive. Everyone in the sim racing community.
Sobrang interactive ng sim racing community ngayon.
Very nice.
Thank you.
Okay, Matthew.
So yeah, I mean, aside from everything that's been mentioned here, I want to invite everyone, to those who don't have a rig, those who say, hey, it's too expensive, I don't even know if I like it. At least come drop by tomorrow when the rigs are there. I mean, like, if you want to know what it's really like, I mean, it's right there, for free.
Yeah.
You can
It's
just walk in
free.
here.
It's free.
Free, And I just like to invite everyone to try any form of sim racing competition. Just don't be afraid to fail, because it's not failure, guys. That's just another word for grit. It's grit, not failure, and you learn every step of the way. So again, I'm inviting you guys not just to tomorrow's event, but to just try racing in general. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much to everybody who joined us here. And thank you for sharing with us your knowledge of the exciting world of sim racing. You guys are going to be here tomorrow as well for Sunday's episode, of course, of the sim racing segment.
There's a race tomorrow, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
Race tomorrow.
Look forward to checking out to the race tomorrow here on Race Day Sunday at the Philippine Motorsport Expo. Thank you so much, our sim racing friends from Surigao, Ribbon Arc, and of course, good luck to Luis for representing the Philippines in Barcelona. Right. These are your heroes in the world of sim racing here in the Philippines. And now we got to stand up for a group photo.